Hello YouTube and welcome to my tutorial on how to sort unique formulas in Excel. So today's tutorial is going to use some dummy data from a fake food company that makes chocolate, jelly and biscuits. And so what I've done is I've got a list of all the different production runs that we've got for these products. I've created a unique formula which just gets the unique product names from this column here. And then I've created another formula that will sum the amount produced based off the product's header. And so I'm going to assume that that's where you're at the moment, and you've just gone along and said, okay, great, now that I've got this data, I'd like to sort it by the largest to smallest, for example. And so you go and try to do that, and you get running into this error, which is that you can't change part of an array because we've used the unique formula. So what do we do? Can we put it into a table? Nope. Why? Because it's still an array, so it won't actually have the ability to have a unique formula in a table. So to get around that, what I like to do is I'll create basically a three-step process, which I'll show you now. And so the first step is to get a table. So we'll grab the headers of the table that we've been working with. We'll create a table by clicking Control T. My table has headers. And we're going to create a formula that basically grabs the products from the unique formula and just pops them into a table for the next step. So we'll go if E4 equals nothing, return nothing. And the reason we do that is so that when we're getting down to here, if it is nothing, we'll just get it to return nothing. And that'll be important in a bit later. But if it's not nothing, what we want to do is get that exact value. So that's exactly right. So it says E4, if E4 equals 0 or nothing, return nothing. If it doesn't, return E4. Great. Then we'll drag that across to the produce column so we can get the produced amount. And we'll drag that all the way down past where the current data is and over to, I guess, blank space. And the reason we're going to do that is that if new products come in the future, this table will automatically flow through without you having to lift a finger because something's been broken in the back end. So now we've got this table, which is called table 2. We're going to rename that just a table. We can then query this table, and that'll get us into a position where we can start to sort the data. So to do that, we'll go to Data, Get Data from Table Range, click OK. And what that does is it grabs the table that we've got here and opens it in Power Query Editor. And so for those of you who haven't seen it before, this is basically a back-end version of the pivot tables. And we won't spend a lot of time in here, so don't worry about learning too much. But essentially, what we've done is we've recreated that table in the Query Editor. And all we need to do is click this arrow here and remove empty. And that'll remove all that excess space that we had here before. And we can now click Close and Load to Existing Worksheet, and we'll pop it right next to it. Click OK. And so now what we have is a query of a table, which is a formula built off the unique formula, which has come from the original table. I can see that that's quite convoluted, but the critical thing here is that now that we've got it in this query, we can actually sort by A to Z or smallest to largest, which we weren't able to do up until this point. And so then the final step, now that we've got this data here, is about refreshing that automatically. And I'll show you what I mean by that. So let's say that this food company is now going to sell candy in the next run. So we'll add that data here. You'll see that it comes through to the unique formula and it comes through to the table, but the query hasn't updated. And that's because the query is set to manually refresh. That's just how it works in Excel. So if I right click here and I click refresh, that'll update. You can see that that's come through. But the problem is that whenever you edit this data over here, you have to go and refresh this every time, which is kind of annoying, right? So the workaround for that is to firstly save your workbook instead of XLSX to XLSM. And that enables macros, which is another thing that hides in the back end of Excel for those who haven't seen it before. And basically, we can create some automations that run in the background without user input to make things work a little bit more seamlessly. So here I've got some code that I prepared earlier. And when I say I mean ChatGPT. So we're going to copy that code, right click on sheet 1, click View Code, then paste in the data here. And so what this says is we've named the sub worksheet change, which means whenever something changes in the worksheet, this will be triggered. We then say specifically we want to monitor the range B4 to C35, which is this range here. And so what that says is that whenever anything changes in these cells here, we want you to enable the refresh of the query, which is here. So it's called the query table, which is what it was called here. Right, so we'll close this now that that's loaded, and we'll notice that if we grab this data and paste it here, this should work where it updates on this end. And so nothing's changed there because the data hasn't changed since last time. But if we delete this, you'll see that it automatically refreshes. And same thing goes again. So if we add that data back in, it'll appear automatically. And we can sort largest to smallest with the new product group, which again, we can't do in any of these other tables. So that's it. That's my secret. I hope you enjoyed and hope you learned something. If you did, please feel free to hit that like button and comment if that was something that has helped you with, and let me know what in particular you were working on that this has helped you with, and I'll see you in the next one.